Alright, so we were just talking about reprogramming the mind. This is episode 2 of it, or episode 1 of 2. I left off to where, the moon is the strongest time of the month to start downloading. Although it is going to be a kicker, it's going to also affect your subconscious. So what you're used to doing in life, it's going to kick in pretty hard. Meaning all the negativity, all the things that you're used to doing. If you're used to doing something like going out, or you're used to going to bars, or you're used to calling an ex, or you're used to anything negative that affects you and who you are, well, you're going to have to battle that as well. But the more you keep on going with your affirmations and your wants, your needs, your understanding yourself, and your mental control, it will get better. The awesome part about downloading your subconscious, reprogramming your mind, a lot of people don't understand, but it's a whole new way of living, and it's a healthy way of living. You can get rid of a lot of mental issues like this. A lot of people have mental issues because everything in the mind affects your body. It affects every part of your body. It affects your vital signs. It affects your heart rate. It affects your blood pressure. It'll even affect your hair. People start going bald over stress, all sorts of things. It will also affect your eating habits, meaning in a good way once you start reprogramming the right way. And so those are the cool things about downloading, your subconscious to the new person you want to be. And remember, there's only 2 ways to download, either negative or positive. The choice is yours. Anything positive is great. It's just like what I say about people that believe in something. Anything positive is great. It doesn't matter what a person believes in, as long as it's a positive aspect of life. And when you're able to actually kick over to the other side on the positive aspect of life, you're able to live by a certain code, a certain law, whatever you want to call it, you can call it. But it's good, and it's positive. And so, once again, your belief system is very important when it comes to reprogramming your mind or downloading your subconscious, whatever it is to you, whatever terms you understand that by. And so I like to tell people, think of it as a computer. Everybody's on a computer nowadays. Everybody does things on computers. They search, they get their music from it, watch TV, watch movies, they stream. So your mind is literally like a computer. And so if you can think of your computer, you have a screen, which is your eyes. You have a microphone plug, which is your voice. You have speakers, which is your ears. And then, of course, you have your internal hard drive. And that is your mind. And the files inside your computer, well, those are your positive thoughts, or it could be your negative, whichever you can kind of decipher what you're dealing with in your mind. And so when it comes to, kind of reprogramming, you literally want to do as your computer does to you. So, for instance, example, you see music you like on your computer, you download it, right? Is it positive or negative music? Is it the music that makes you live a certain way? Or does it react as an affirmation in a positive way? And, people don't get it, but the system itself is a source of affirmations. You see billboard signs, you listen to music, you watch music videos, you watch movies. In other words, if you fill your computer, which we're referring to the computer as your mind, if you fill your computer with nothing but scary movies, and nothing but gory, negative movies. And it doesn't have to be gory. It could be any type. It could be movies that deal with drug dealing or hitman or, unrealistic things in life. Well, that's going to create a certain type of ego for you. And an ego literally comes down to ego/spirit. So what you're doing is giving yourself a spirit. And a lot of people call it, when it's positive, your Holy Spirit. But when it's negative, I like to just call it spirit or negative spirit. Whichever comforts you, with the words. But from there, anything you watch, anything you hear, anything you see, if it's negative, if it's in your computer, hey, it's going to be in your mind. It's going to affect your mind. Negativity movies that are scary, they're going to create fear. Movies that are love romance and the ending isn't such a good ending, well, that's going to create doubt, because most of us have been in situations that literally connect to us with those movies. So that's why I like to explain your computer as your mind. Same with music. What kind of music you listening to? I know we all have our preference in music. I mean, I have my preference in music. I listen to hip-hop, alternative, country, all sorts of things. But before I programmed my mind and subconscious, which actually I did rather quick. I mean, I had a death awakening, which kind of instantly made me see things different. But not everybody gets to do that or goes through that. And so here's another example. When you're listening to hip-hop, hip-hop has its form of negative music, but it also has its positive side. One of the most classic people, legacy person out there I like to refer to is Tupac himself. His spirit is what drove him to actually become an ambition in his mind, and he was an ambitious person. He followed through. He spoke what he felt. Unfortunately, the way he was raised through his roots, since he wasn't able to actually dig through his roots, his music was a little impact on the community. And what I mean by that is he still held a grudge from his past, from the way he grew up, from the way he lived life. And that was never dealt with in his mind. So his music brought out the rage of the life he lived, which is no problem, because some people, when going through this transition, they might understand the knowledge, they might understand the philosophy, they might understand the belief system, they might understand religion and all that, but they still didn't take care of themselves within. And that's what I'm talking about. He had prophecy knowledge. He had awesome outlook on save the children, give to the community, doing right, doing good. And you can see it through his music and hear it through his music all the way from the beginning to the end. And you can see a big difference and change. And so that's kind of like what I'm talking about, like you have to go within yourself so your spirit that you're downloading in your head doesn't get the best of you. Because believe me, guys, if you can download your mind and your subconscious, which is very, very possible, you also will use your creativity in the way that your roots led you to be. And so that's why I'm telling y'all it's very important to take care of your roots first and, forgive and the resentment on others, because you got to understand that Love is like the biggest key of all in life. And it all starts with loving yourself. And like I said in the first episode, a lot of people don't understand that we were all brought into this world through sin. And what I don't want to sound all religious and stuff, but that's what it is, a sin, a negative. And love has a lot to do with that. Since we all didn't really get taught how to love each other properly, we all ended up, dealing with our emotions through a physical touch. So, we were only acting on our emotions for that time being. And then from there, well, people have to live life through the system and end up forgetting about the other person, which kind of throws a disconnect. And both people are used to getting their emotional affection from a physical touch. So, how can you spend all the time in the world with each other and get that emotion through a physical touch if literally both of the people in a relationship have to work and stay distant from each other for so many hours a day? And then from there, you got frustration, you got stress, you got all sorts of things that you got to deal with in life, right? And so there's always somebody becoming emotionally detached. So when you have something to believe in, and it has to be a positive way, whether it's a church, whether it's religion, whether it's Jesus, God, it doesn't matter, the universe, it can be Buddhism, it can be Jehovah's Witness, it can be anything. But it all speaks of the same good, doing good, and it all speaks of a positive outlook. And they definitely all have, commandments or universal laws or laws of nature, however you want to look at it, but it gives you something to live by. And so when you're able to actually believe in something like that and understand why it's so important, well, then you're able to kind of understand and get to know the other side of the world, which isn't so negative. It's actually, as above, so below. Everybody's looking up in the sky for heaven, but we don't realize that we can have heaven right here on this planet. And then most of all important, we can have heaven within ourselves. And so I always tell people to work on the inside. And that is going to tremendously help somebody download their subconscious the proper way. And like I said, there's so many ways to download, and you have to hear your own voice. You have to have a voice. You have to stop looking at things in a negative aspect, because what you don't realize is all the things that have affected you in life from whoever, each individual, I'm sure you can come up with in a matter of 5 seconds of someone that you resent or someone that did you wrong. What you don't understand is they're not even in your life anymore. And some people have been out of your life for years, but yet they're still affecting you, and they're still getting the best of you, and they're still consuming your mind. They altered your mind to where it became an ego, it became a spirit. And that's the same thing as, like what I said, the system. So you have people you deal with on a daily basis, and then you have a system. Those two things affect the mind tremendously. Learn how to look at things positive. Learn how to hear things positive. Learn how to keep your surroundings positive. And that's why you're supposed to get rid of toxicity in your life. When you get rid of the toxicity in your life, you're able to work on yourself. You're able to do things for yourself and think for yourself, make decisions for yourself, and start living a life for yourself. But most of all, you gotta love yourself. Because if everybody loved themselves, then we can start changing the world, we can start changing the children, and we can start teaching our children the same thing we're learning, which literally falls back to any type of religion you think of. Before Christ, after Christ, it doesn't matter. It still falls in the same category. And so remember, guys, download positive affirmations. Talk to yourself. Talk positive. Tell yourself you are going to do it. I am going to do it. See a vision. Find your passion. Don't let people get the best of you. Always stay in your own belief within yourself first. And don't let anybody try to convince you that one belief is better than the other, or one religion is better than the other. Because the most important religion of them all is yourself. And so remember that, guys, and I'll be putting out more